Now this time the directory we want should have been installed with the guide. We'll want C drive, Machinima Cinematography with the source engine, files needed, AVS scripts. Now you may wonder what we're doing here since you can open up your XviD clip and watch it right away. Well, XviD is designed to record a different kind of color space than what the display from your computer uses. What we're going to be doing is opening up a script to restore its color to something closer to the original. It still won't be 100%, but otherwise you'll get a slight yellow-greenish tint to your footage, which you probably don't want. Okay, you should have a file here that says XviD conversion. It has a .avs extension, but go and open it up with any text editor. I'm using WordPad again. These are commands meant to work with Virtual Dub and AVI Synth. We're going to come back to these when I discuss motion blur. You don't need to memorize any of this stuff. I recommend just editing the AVS that will be supplied for you. Okay, let's go over what you're seeing here. The first command is AVI source, which is telling Virtual Dub where the file is. Then parentheses, then quotation marks, then the directory where your video is located, then the name of your video, and be sure to end the parentheses and the quote marks. The parentheses are telling the command what to look at. The quote marks are to make sure it can recognize spaces in your file name. Okay, this will open up your file. Now let's go to the next line. Assume FPS 30. This will automatically convert your frame rate to 30 frames per second, so you don't have to do it again as an extra step in Virtual Dub like we did before. You should type in whatever frame rate you use to record the AVI with here. Next I have a period, which separates the commands, and our last command is convert to YV12, then a parentheses block. This is what will convert our XviD footage to something more compatible with what the original image was at. Now go ahead and save this, then close it. Now I'm heading back over to Virtual Dub. Let's open up the AVS file. Go to File, Open Video File, and I'm already in the directory we need to be in, which is C drive, Machinima Cinematography with the source engine, files needed, AVS scripts. Then I'm clicking on XviD conversion, then open. Oh, and by the way, these directories here are only a convenience for you. You can store them anywhere you want on your computer. The only files you have to adhere to the directory structure with are the ones you'll be using inside the game. Okay, now this opened our file, and this is a good time to talk about XviD files a little more. It may not be obvious from these recordings, but scanning your clip in XviD can actually be much more time-consuming than uncompressed footage or Huffy UV. Yeah, now it's chopping. This is because XviD doesn't actually store data for every single frame the way those other codecs do. What it does is store data for a keyframe, then records all the changes in between that and the next frame. So if you skip in between the keyframes, it has to go back to that keyframe and calculate all the changes. Because of this, XviD is actually a very poor choice to use with most video editors, where you want to be able to scan your clip easily. So the best thing to do is convert it to a codec that's more compatible. For now, let's take a look at the rest of the AVI. Go up to Streams, then Stream List. And notice like before, we already have our audio in place, so we're set there. Now click OK, then go to Video, Frame Rate, and notice how it says 30 frames per second like we specified. That's one less step. Now I'll close this, then we'll hit File, Save As, and here it's just like before. I recommend saving it as either uncompressed footage or a Huffy UV clip. Video editors usually work well with either of those. And for this operation, it's best to use full processing mode. I'm not going to save this clip because I already have the copy I made earlier, but that's the procedure you use for XviD recordings to have good results. Okay, that concludes basic video recording. Next up, I'll expand on the concept a bit and show you a few more tricks you can do while in the recording and processing phase.